Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and this is the big one, right? So this is the one that set it all in motion. This is the big kahuna, as they call it, the one that most fans of this particular franchise love and adore. This is the one that set the ball rolling. So I don't need to tell you too much about it. Everybody knows what it is. Actually, especially sci-fi fans, and I wouldn't call Star Wars really science fiction. So yeah, a lot of people are kind of like the space adventure, sword and sorcery set in space. It is Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, but it was of course only called Star Wars when it first was released back in 1977. Written and directed by George Lucas, produced by Lucasfilms, and distributed by 20th Century Fox. Like I said, from there came on all the other movies, television series. Although to be honest, except for The Mandalorian, I think I mentioned this already before in the review of Mandalorian, I don't really enjoy the series as much, to be honest. Mandalorian I really like. The third season not so much, but overall I do like The Mandalorian quite a bit. And I think it's a perfect setting to be in the Star Wars universe. But the other movies really haven't really got my excitement level up. Sorry, the other series. Although I enjoy the movies a little bit more. So yeah, from there, like I said, all the movies, all this television series, merchandise, the animated series, which I haven't really watched, and the dolls, the toys, all that stuff. The conventions and all those things. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and now of course Disney being behind it, they're even more powerful. I wouldn't really call it science fiction. It's more sword and sorcery set in space, with swords being replaced by lightsabers, sorcery being replaced by the Force. Anyway, so it is set, of course, in a galaxy in a faraway galaxy, long time ago. The tyrannical galactic empire is ruling, and they are a menace. And the story focuses on a group of freedom fighters known as the Rebel Alliance, and they want to destroy the newest weapon, which is the Death Star. Of course, it's written down in movie history. And of course, Princess Leia is apprehended by the Empire, and out to rescue her are Luke Skywalker, who we later find out is her twin brother. He managed to get his hand on the stolen architectural plans of the Death Star, and is going to rescue her with the help of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the old Jedi Master, with a flowing brown robe. That's a joke from Colin Mockery from Whose Line Is It Anyway? He actually said this: Obi-Wan Kenobi with the brown flying robe, or the brown flying robe, flying brown robe. Anyway, that's I always remember that when I hear the name or the words being said, Obi-Wan Kenobi, that's what I remember. So the cast, of course, includes Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Peter Cushing, Alec Guinness, David Prowse, James Earl Jones, Anthony Daniels, Kenny Baker, and Peter Mayhew. And I believe, and that's what I see here as well. I remember reading this somewhere else as well, or I think maybe in a documentary or some clip that I've seen. They actually mentioned that Lucas had an idea about this particular thing after Flash Gordon, which was really popular back in the 70s. And of course, the set of sci-fi set in space in movies, as far as TVs and movies are concerned, it's Forbidden Planet influenced Star Trek. Star Trek had an influence over Star Wars, etc., etc. All of them are connected in some way or the other, at least influential-wise. I don't want to go down the storyline of this particular one. I just want to tell you my thoughts. Made on a budget of $11 million, it has made $775.8 million at the box office. I don't really think that's the correct number. It actually has got to be much more, since DVDs and all that stuff come, Blu-rays, re-releases, shown in the theater. So after I first watched this on television, maybe on VHS tapes, I can't really remember, when I was really, really young, back in Kuwait. So this must have been early 80s, 84, 83 maybe. I don't remember the first time I watched it. Um, I've since seen the movie in the theater. I watched this movie in the theater. Where was it? There was a re-release after somewhere in the 90s, and I remember taking a couple of my young cousins along with me. I think it was for this one or the Return of Jedi. I remember watching this many times over the years. Since I got the DVD set, I forgot to take it down, but I kept it back over there. I watched this actually over a week ago. In fact, almost 2 weeks ago. I have seen it many times since then. And I'll be honest, it isn't my favorite Star Wars film. It is my second favorite Star Wars film. My favorite is actually Revenge of the Sith, for reasons which I've explained in my review of Revenge of the Sith. And of course, this film is really, really. I mean, you have to admit it's set the ball rolling, right? It's set a lot of things in motion, and it's got that charm of having the against all odds group of heroes fighting for the cause, and of course the rogue guy who's out for the money initially, played by Harrison Ford. Perfect casting, by the way. What George Lucas did was actually brilliant. You know the story, but yeah, I mean, they did a fantastic job in that particular case. I would say, casting wise, it's absolutely brilliant. Mark Hamill is that wide-eyed, star boy kind of thing. I was actually going to say something else. And he, perfectly portrays that. He's youthful, he's enthusiastic, he's innocent in a lot of things as well. And just reading over here, William Catt, I can't really remember him. Robbie Benson, Will Seltzer, Charles Martin Smith, and Kurt Russell were in line for the role as well. That's really surprising. Kurt Russell don't see that. I like Kurt Russell quite a lot, by the way. Harrison Ford, of course, plays Han Solo, the smuggler, cynical guy, a little bit older than Hans. He's jaded. He's done a lot of things. He's done smuggling, other things. Captain of the Millennium Falcon, along with Chewie, his best friend, who's basically a dog in a huge, in a huge form. What am I getting messages from? And so perfect role. Here's the funny part. Kurt Russell was also in line for the role of Han Solo. Nick Nolte, I don't really see that. Sylvester Stallone, I don't see that either. Bill Murray, Christopher Walken, Burt Reynolds, Jack Nicholson, James Caan, Robert De Niro, Kelsey Grammer, oh my goodness, Fraser, Al Pacino, Steve Martin, whoa, Chevy Chase or Perry King. It blows my mind. Can't see anybody else in that role. The guy who played the young Han Solo, didn't really like the movie very much, but I do have to give it another shot. I'll do it for the review definitely. Carrie Fisher brilliantly portraying Princess Leia Organa. I've never been a really big Carrie Fisher fan, but I love her in this role. Don't really. I just can't see her in anything else. That's a big problem. Right? She embodies this role so much. Again, the list of people who were actually in line for this or auditioned for the role: Cindy Williams, Terry Nunn, Jodie Foster, and Karen Allen. Karen Allen, of course, went on to play. What's her name? Marion. No, think of somebody else. Somebody else. Peter Cushing, of course, I believe he was very tired and very ill at the time, or he was so they actually made sure that they didn't shoot above, they didn't shoot full length video of him, something like that. I remember reading about it. Of course, iconic actor, horror legend. Alec Guinness as well. I do not really know anything about his roles before this. I've never seen him in anything else, at least that I remember. I'll have to check and see whether I've actually watched any of his old movies. But um, again, iconic role. Anthony Daniels as C3PO, Kenny Baker as R2D2. Of course, they're amazing, as well as Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca. I've seen Peter Mayhew, and you know, might be surprised he was the guy behind it, because he seems like such a gentle person, but you say gentle giant. David Prowse as Darth Vader, but of course, the guy who I always admired in terms of his voice, he's one of those actors who, I guess, you know, the voice is like so much of the charm. James Earl Jones. I mean, that guy's voice is amazing. I really love James Earl Jones as an actor, and his voice, especially in this, you are part of the Rebel Alliance and blah blah blah, all that stuff, right? So, yeah. So, like I said, this movie definitely is way up there and one of the most iconic films of the 20th century, but all time, to be honest. And I think it's a must-watch for everybody. I'm not going to say too much about the rest of the films because that's up for review coming soon. I will give this movie, surprise, surprise, an 8.5 out of 10. But I don't think the other two movies that come after this, they're really, really good. But I don't really think they managed to match the brilliance of the first movie. And yeah, that's basically it for Star Wars A New Hope, Star Wars 4 A New Hope. I want to say live long and prosper, but I'm going to say may the force be with you. Sorry about that. Take care.